Welcome to the stream. Welcome to the stream. My name is Aaron Mashbitz. We are just going to make sure everything is up and running properly before we jump into today's stream and videos. But we are talking about men today. We're talking about the male loneliness epidemic. We're talking about goon caves. We're talking about women, dating, marriage, all of that good stuff. And we're reacting to two different videos. And so should be awesome. Should be a good time. Just making sure everything is properly ready to go. It looks like it is. So that's all good. And yes, so fantastic. But cool. Welcome. My name is Aaron Mashbitz. Thanks for joining me on the stream. Not a large introduction here, but I do have a podcast called Something for Everybody. About 90% of our episodes are around mindset, mental health, and personal development. So check that out if podcasts are of interest to you. I also have a deep interest in young men and the plight of young men. I think they need our help. I'm also married. I'm a brand new father, so I come from that sort of worldview as well. So with that in mind, let's jump into our first video from Steven Crowder. Here we go.
Restoring marriages after adultery that she committed, supporting women to soften after, I guess, the woman commits adultery, equipping men to lead after the woman commits adultery on him. It's certainly not your job to equip him after you have repeatedly committed adultery and embarrassed him all over social media, in spite of the courses that you want to sell. This first thing, though, and I want you to comment below.
Everybody wants to sell a course, though. Isn't that true? Everybody wants to sell a course. Here we go.
If you are, particularly if you are a Christian, particularly if you're a Protestant Christian in the United States, have you noticed the wolves in sheep's clothing? And, you know, we talked about Nala Ray, for example. There's a real trend now for people to sort of build, in some cases, what may be false testimonies. It used to be you went through a transformative experience. You sat in the pew for a while, you learned, and then you may be able to reach people who had similar experiences or had walked a similar path of sin before redemption. Now there's a really quick turnaround to sell a course that leads people down a distinctly anti-biblical road. So this is one that I found. I don't even know how I stumbled across it. It does all of those things, as well as embarrasses a real-life husband on social media in the name of modern Christianity. See if you can spot the problem.
Even though I don't deserve it, you did it.
What my husband did to bring me back after I cheated on him for another man.
Left for another man.
Yes. And here's what she wrote on her profile. She wrote, "Here's what many people get wrong. Yes, God restores, he heals, he renews. And as much as there's a part only God can do, there's a part we have to do. My husband didn't just pray and wait. He obeyed. He sought godly counsel. He invested in mentorship and support. He allowed himself to be stretched, corrected, and refined." You almost think he's the one who was out there cheating and says, he confronted himself with discomfort, the discomfort.
Yeah, the discomfort of his fucking wife cheating on him and banging some other dude. I don't know if I could come back from that, you know? I don't know if I could come back from my wife cheating on me. Now, of course, you know, most women say there's a bunch of circumstances that lead up into the point where they cheat, but you still did the adultery, right? You still cheated, and now it's the man's job to obey and be uncomfortable with himself and take you back, and now everything's supposed to be like shiny and rosy because the sex that you did didn't really mean something. It was like an emotional connection. It's all just horseshit to excuse your horrible behavior and not have to hold yourself accountable for you, the one sort of burning down the marriage, and now sort of putting the onus on the man to, you know, become better with this uncomfortable truth and all this hocus pocus crap. It's ridiculous. It's ridiculous.
That you were committing adultery, and learned how to lead me away from committing adultery, love me in spite of your adultery, and stand firm in truth in ways he never had before in the face of adultery. It wasn't easy, she writes, because you committed adultery. It was humbling, I guess, because he committed adultery, so it was embarrassing. It's deeply uncomfortable. Adultery does that, but his obedience didn't just restore a marriage. It saved our family from your adultery. Now, to be clear,
a better synopsis of what happened.
If you scroll down the line, she'll be like, and then he was going to he was using prostitutes, and that would seem. she also discussed how they had an open marriage. So they had an open marriage, both of them making mistakes, but then she was going to leave and fell in love with another man, and it's incumbent upon the man to correct it. This brings us to the bio there, where,
By the way,
of
I think
course,
they actually got divorced, right?
They did. They
Actually
divorced.
got divorced and then got back together. So it was like she didn't just like go and like, you know, have an adulterous affair or something like that, or so. She like actually left, divorced, gone, done.
yeah, and their kids, by the way.
And
Yes,
fell in love with
exactly.
another man.
Fell in love with
She
another
made sure
man.
to mention that
Yeah.
a lot on her page, that she fell in love with another man. Never mentions falling out of love, which is interesting.
Yes,
Yeah.
is very interesting, and mentions that, you know, she was the one who left him repeatedly. And the good news is there's some kind of a course.
Yeah, she sells a course.
Yeah, there's some kind of a course.
She can teach your husband how to give good massages and
Yeah,
how to keep his wife.
yeah. Because, you know, this is the man's job to fix. Just to be clear, the bio reads, restoring marriages after adultery that she committed, supporting women to soften after, I guess, the woman commits adultery,
Weird.
equipping men to lead after the woman commits adultery on him, equipping men to lead after you committed adultery and posted about it, equipping them. So like a 2x4 with a nail in it.
Like, not everything has to be posted on social media, and certainly not everything has to turn into a fucking course. Like, I just don't, this culture that we live in is absurd. Everything is posted on the internet about my open marriage, about my adultery, about me coming back to my wife, about what this did. I'm crying on the internet now because have all this wisdom about coming back from adultery. I'm now going to sell a course on it. The course almost invites people to cheat on their husband just so they can take the course. That's not what marriage is about. Marriage is a commitment. Marriage is a vow. Marriage is a lifelong partnership about trying to, you know, commit to one another and be reciprocal and honest and kind and have hard conversations on a continual basis, not just like, you know, take a course about not cheating or cheating and then put the onus on the man and then go take the course and then sell the course on Instagram for all this stuff that now, you know, this wisdom that you now have. It's very frustrating.
No, she means by equipping men to lead, she means, you know, telling him, hey, when I cheat, you have to bring me back.
Right. Yeah.
Yeah.
How about you work? This is a thing too with marriages. How about you work on you, and he'll work on him? It's
Yeah.
really a simple equation. Now, the thing that most women in the church, or many women in the church, don't like is that even if he's not working on himself, it's still not, if you subscribe to the Bible, still not your place to tell him how to work on him. And it's certainly not your job to equip him with the tools. That's between him and God and the men who hold him accountable. And it's certainly not your job to equip him after you have repeatedly committed adultery and embarrassed him all over social media, in spite of the courses that you want to sell. Are any women buying this? Are you understanding why men are checking out of the dating pool? All right, comment below. Do you guys see this? This is the problem with the modern sort of
Yeah.
feel-good self-help.
You can say it's
Non-denominational
Protestant
church.
Yeah, the Protestant church really does get a lot of things wrong. Unfortunately, I like the idea of a Protestant church that has a little bit more freedom, but I hate it when you completely run away from tradition and you completely go for stuff like this, like this new age idea of what a relationship with God is. By the way, I scrolled and I tried to find, I don't have an Instagram account personally, but I tried to find, so maybe it's there and I couldn't. Her saying, here's what I did to work on me.
Oh, it's not there.
Here's my problem that
It's
I
either
had to
joint
deal with.
or him.
It seemed
it's
it seemed
joint
like everything was him
or him.
related. Yeah.
It's mostly him related.
It's always the man's fault. Always. It's the same thing about, you know, toxic masculinity. It's the man. The man is toxic, and his essence, his being is toxic. Okay, well, then I'm going to check out. I'm not going to become the man, the leader, the visionary, the protector, the provider that I know I can be, because my essence is toxic. And if my wife cheats on me, it's my fault because I wasn't there. I wasn't attentive. I didn't put away the fucking dishes. You know, I didn't do all these things. And of course, there is something to be said about that, right? Of course, there's two people in a marriage, and many things can happen that could lead someone to go astray or cheat, whatever it might be. Of course, there is some things probably that the man didn't notice or avoided, or, you know, was too busy working to take care of, and the woman never brought it up enough times or didn't have a hard conversation, wasn't willing to have the hard conversation, and she took sort of the easy way out by cheating, and then she cheated and blamed it on the partner because I wasn't getting the things I was needing here, so I went elsewhere. Well, you avoided the hard conversation, you brushed it under the rug, and then you took the easy way out, but it's the man's fault. And of course, Crowder is right here by why men are checking out of the dating market. And then that's not a good thing. That's not a good thing. If we want to produce the best, most flourishing society that is possible, men have to be in the dating market, talking to women, making partnerships, having babies. These things are what build a community and a society, right? And that's what's important. And so men need help. They don't need to be denigrated and disregarded and told they're toxic. They need to be uplifted and encouraged, and they need positive role models that they can see something in them that allows them and encourages them to display and grow their excellence in a way that's helpful to society. Anyways, that's what I think. Let's go.
Well, like we made mistakes, but he had to go work on him. I'm like, what? Wait a minute. Well, you literally divorced your husband and left for another man. Where is the I screwed up part?
Right. She fell in love with another man. She didn't just leave for another man.
Right.
She fell in love. She's still in love.
Can't control
well,
love,
the good news is if you find yourself in a situation like this, where a woman cheats on you, falls in love with another man, abandons you and your family, the good news is there is hope for you if you subscribe to this course and if you follow her advice. For example, here is some advice that she gives to men on how to prevent cheating or the withholding of sex should your wife be doing so.
Yeah, make sure you get the breast in there.
She writes, and she's like half German. Has your wife ever shut down when you approached her, or even when you are in the middle of being close to each other? There are many reasons for this. I will not get into it right now, but here are 3 things you can do as a loving husband to tend your relationship so it can be long-lasting, fruitful covenant you both desire. Number 1, during the day, no matter if you are at work or this is advice towards men, by the way.
Yeah.
Yes. During the day, no matter if you are at work, providing a roof and protection, which I will abandon and take half somewhere away, or if you're both in the same place, make sure to create moments of connection and safety for her, a hug, a smile, a deep gaze into each other's eyes, or prayer. This is part of your intimacy that will set the tone for many more things you experience together. He's coming home getting the bedroom. Now, that's an extreme example to make a point, but which one would be more biblical?
Yeah.
Let's go. All of it is advice to men. Men work on men, and then women work on men. Here's another one about the biggest lies about sex, according to her, biblically, that you shouldn't fall for. The biggest lie about sex and marriage, and you probably believe that.
Oh boy.
She writes, the biggest lie about sex and marriage, and you probably believe it. Okay, here are 4. Number 1, sex is a duty for the wife or husband. Number 2, these are lies according to her.
Oh.
Number 2, sex is a transactional thing. You do X and I get Y. Number 3, it isn't so important and totally overrated. Number 4, the wife gives her husband sex, and if not, he goes somewhere else to get it. Well, no one's
that's
just toss that in there. Let's deal with the first one because she doubles down on that. She writes, so first of all, it is not a duty, but designed for you to be a gift in your marriage. If you don't want to do it, but somehow feel like you have to, you're doing something wrong. Let me take you to 1 Corinthians 7, verse 3 through 5. The husband should fulfill his marital duty to his wife.
Sex.
And likewise, the wife to her husband. Does that say feeling? Oh, it says marital duty.
Yes.
The wife does not have authority over her own body, but yields it to her husband. Getting kind of clear now. In the same way, the husband does not have authority over his own body, but yields it to his wife. Do not deprive each other, except perhaps by mutual consent and for a time so that you may devote yourselves to prayer. Then come together again. I mean, like then immediately come back together so that Satan will not tempt you because of your lack of self-control. So not only is it described as a duty, not only...
There certainly is a duty. It's, like pretty straightforward. It's a duty.
Is it reiterated as a duty? It's contextually reiterated without even using the word duty, saying that your own body is not under your authority, but your husband's, and vice versa. Then the Bible goes on to say, and contextually, if you both agree to it, for example, maybe a time of prayer and fasting, just like denying yourself sweets, which isn't in and of itself evil, of course. These things God can create for good. If you both agree, immediately go back, because pragmatically, you are more likely to stumble or be tempted if you're denying either of your spouse sex. It is a duty. You need to do it. So let me just
sounds awful, by the way.
I know.
Coming together and agreeing to have a sex fast. That's like coming together and asking, hey, you want to have leftovers tonight?
Yeah.
No.
Sometimes
No,
you
what?
come together, you make the. Sometimes there's also a coach.
Let's play
like,
things out.
Women weaken legs. And you're like, all right.
So I love that. By the way, I just want to go back to her quote. The first thing she starts off with is a complete biblical lie.
It's a lie. It's not a duty.
It's not an accident. It's not something that she mistook and she misunderstood. It is a 100% biblical lie. If somebody does something like this, immediately discount everything they say after that and move on down the road.
Yeah.
Don't sign up for the course if it's $49.99. But wait, sign up.
It
for
literally
now.
says, ignore God's command.
Yes.
And go with
Scripture.
your feeling. And by the way, your feeling is dependent on, does he create moments of safety and intimacy while he's at work and he should be working? So I'll give you 2 examples. Sex is a gift, actually. It's not a duty. If you don't feel it, something's wrong. Okay, that's hers. I'm going to give you an extreme example to make a point. Then I'm going to ask you a question. Okay. He says he wants to do it. Open your legs and show your husband sexual gratification. Which one is more in line with the biblical description of a sexual duty of a spouse? And the same for she comes home, she's into it, you're not. Sorry, brother.
Yeah.
You gotta go.
You got to pony up, dude.
You gotta go.
Yep.
Yeah, you
Which
gotta
one
have it.
is
You gotta
more
get it
biblical?
figured out.
Because only one is offensive to almost half the Protestant congregation.
Yeah.
The people who buy these courses. This is a bigger problem than leftism in a lot of ways because the enemy is inside the house. And I'll show you this too. You know, by fruits of the tree. And I get it. People can make mistakes and they can be redeemed. But that's what they're hoping is you get hooked with. The Lord can restore marriages.
Yeah, of course people make mistakes. Everyone make mistakes. Everyone sins. But there are degrees of sinning. There is degrees of mistakes. You know, like you can forget to put the dishes away one night. That's a mistake. But to go out and have sex with someone else on a regular basis and withholding that information from your husband and then leaving your husband, divorcing him, then coming back to him, that's just not like a simple, okay, oh, I just didn't know. That's like a conscious effort decision that you want to leave this relationship. And then again, blaming it on the man because it's always the man's fault. It always falls back on the man. I think women a lot of times need to take accountability for their own actions, but they don't. They want to blame it on something or this or that or equality or rights or the man. Or it's like, take some accountability for your fucking actions. You were the one who went out and cheated and did all these types of things. Now, in their specific relationship, maybe it's different because they had a quote unquote open relationship. But that's not what, you know, real marriage is designed to be. Real marriage is a monogamous relationship between 2 people who are committing themselves to each other for the rest of their lives. And marriage is hard, but marriage is worth it. You know, I'm a very, very strong proponent for marriage, for young men getting married, for having kids, for building a community, for becoming a leader. Nothing encourages responsibility more than getting married and becoming a father. Now, I did it a little late in my life. You know, I became a father at the age of 33, and I got married at 32, right? Or I got married at 31. What am I right? Something like that. Whatever. Doesn't matter. But I was a little bit older, right? So I some of my shit figured out, not totally. But it, you know, there's this like argument now in the space, in the internet space, that marriage is not a good deal for guys. And of course, you know, family court is not geared towards men and divorce rates are high. And, you know, the women could take all of your shit and all these types of things. Of course, there's going to be risk involved in literally everything. But you mitigate that risk by really picking the partner that you know is best for you, or the wife that is best for you, or the woman that is best for you. There's not a more important decision you are going to make in your life than the person you marry. So you have to have the hard, intimate, detailed conversations about what you want your life to be. You have to have regular business meetings and regular check-ins. You have to talk about intimacy and finance and all these types of things that are deemed hard, because that is how you make it work over the long haul. Then once that happens, you could have possibly no better relationship to ever exist outside of your wife and maybe your kids. That sounds fucking awesome to me. But it is hard, and shit like this happens all the time. And then the women go out and blame men, and then they build a fucking course because of it. Unbelievable. Anyways, let's continue.
So someone goes, well, great, I'm listening, and none of it is your fault. He has to do all of it.
Yeah.
That is as anti-biblical as it gets. But we can also look at some other bangers she has on her profile, like this one about falling for another dude. Again, very public and describing and embarrassing her husband. What I wish I knew as a wife in the season of not wanting sex with my husband, almost divorcing and falling out of love with a man. I thought you was terrible. And then the course in the caption is all about how he needs to do something better. And then here's another one, by the way, because she wants you to know that she had the Jezebel spirit.
Yes.
And it left her. But
What a nice excuse that is.
yeah, it was.
Oh, I wasn't a skank. No, I was possessed.
No, don't
shut the hell up.
Don't Jezebel shame me.
I didn't like any of the sex I had. I don't think about it anymore. Or the man I fell in love with and never talk about it anymore.
It's Jezebel liberation.
It was Jezebel's fault, not mine.
But then she even shows you, like right now, this Christian woman who offers up these courses or whatever it is, email newsletters. She wants you to really see the new Christian she is by showing you the transformation of Jezebel leaving her body.
Watch the Jezebel spirit leave me. I didn't know what I was playing around. Then I got saved and I became a disciple of Jesus Christ. Now I can only share the gospel and expose and destroy the enemy's work. All glory to our Lord and his grace. Amen.
It's not the gospel.
Yeah. Also, I
only
feel
share the
bad.
gospel.
I feel bad. I usually don't have to issue a warning if you have children there for a gospel message.
Yeah.
Not typically.
No.
But, I mean, be warned.
Yeah.
Jezebel spirits are in the room.
Yes.
You don't see twerking and gospel.
Typically.
Yeah.
Typically not so much. I mean, even at this point, I'm like, you know what? Bring back Snake.
Kind of reminds. Oh, geez, what's that? Oh, that's the Rumble stream. Sorry if you heard that in the background. Anyways, but that reminds me of Tucker Carlson saying that he got like possessed or got like attacked by some sort of demon. It's like, what do you guys talk? Or Candace Owens saying that someone's an alien and this person's a time traveler. It's like some people will just literally say anything and they believe it. And that's the wild part. It's like, what the fuck? Anyways, let's continue.
Handling.
It's better.
Everybody puts on a facade for social media. We know that because it's not reality. Here's how the Jezebel spirit really left her body.
Oh my God.
See, that doesn't go
That
over
was,
as well on the gram
That was something else.
or the
Ruined
talk.
dessert.
But, you know, here's the thing. If she really did change her ways, remember like Nala Ray had her OnlyFans open for a long time, I think. I don't even know if she still does, but until she started her
It was
online
weird.
her online course.
Yeah.
She was still going to like OnlyFans events and stuff too.
After being
saying she was
baptized.
preaching the
To-
gospel. Or,
To proselytize, guys.
Sure.
To proselytize. Can you imagine if early missionaries, they went in and like, well, you know, when in Rome and they're just being cannibals? Like, how am I going to relate to them otherwise?
Well, I work at the whorehouse and the nunnery.
Yes.
It's part.
She's one of those brothel nuns.
Yeah.
Plays a mean organ. Here's
yes,
some other examples.
I'll take everything, sister.
Yes. Here are examples of this is still on her Instagram page, you know, right beneath the new newsletter or course you can get on how to tell your husband to woo you back after you've cheated. This is still there. Fruits of the Spirit.
Oh,
Couldn't hit the delete button?
devil horns, literally.
Was it covered in holy water?
They have a lot of views. Can't delete them.
Make 'em sing to this thing like a melody. And if your girl ain't right, I got the remedy.
Is the remedy Jesus Christ? Oh, she is possessed.
Yeah.
Maybe she was.
Oh, that's see-through undies. That's cool.
Opening Inferno ceremony gehabt in the Sex Bomb Goddess container. Wow.
Again, if your kids are watching, they shouldn't be. But this is
This is still on her
it's a
page.
Bible study.
The hell?
After she said, the only thing I can share is the gospel
Yeah.
and my ass cheeks slamming down on stage.
And I behold a pale ass. And syphilis followed.
Yeah, I mean, you hear like a lot of these OnlyFans girls, you know, who show their butthole and pussy on the internet. They're like, but I'm a traditional woman. I want a traditional man. Well, you don't hold any traditional values. You sell your butthole online. That's not traditional. And so you can't have the expectation to have a traditional man. That's not to say you shouldn't be treated kindly or respectfully. That's not, everyone's made in the divine image of God. I think people get that misconstrued, like they should be treated harshly or something. No, they should be treated with respect and kindness and decency. But I think it's strange to say that you are a traditional woman and want a traditional relationship, but don't act in a traditional manner. There are tons of guys out there who want to date an OnlyFans chick because they think it's fucking cool. But most of the time, that's not who the OnlyFans chick actually wants to date. And so there's this like mismatch between the two things. And then obviously it creates even more rifts in the dating market, and all these types of things creates more male loneliness, which is not good, right? We need to encourage men to get out there, to date, to talk to people, to encourage them to become the best version of themselves, to get rejected, to fall down, to get back up, to improve themselves, to become leaders and providers and protectors and all those types of things. But it's just interesting what people say they want and the actions they have. They usually don't line up when you're doing this type of behavior.
With it.
Jesus wept.
Yeah. You guys see the problem, right? And then you'll get all these the sisterhood who come out and go, "You're a chauvinist." This isn't red pill, by the way. No one here is advocating for promiscuity and going out and sleeping with a bunch of women. We are saying avoid women like this. You're no longer safe even seeking in the church. This is a cancer, to be clear. Hey, delete those. I want to show them me and my sin and all. No. You can talk about it. What kind of message do you think is being sent out there? Yeah. We had an open relationship for a very long time. By the way, these are all my videos. Here are my nipples. Also, here's Jesus. How about no? How about we go back to, like, traditionalism really needs to make a comeback as it relates to faith. This is a serious problem. Young women, how many of you believe this? Is it more offensive to you for slut shaming and for false prophet shaming, if that applies here? Like, it's just evil. This is evil straight from the pit of hell. Everything she says is wrong. And just so you know, it's always the man's fault.
And to me, it's not even the promiscuity of her past that is the bothersome thing. It's the fact that she leaves it up there and then says all the stuff about how she left and how God saved her marriage. And here, oh, by the way, buy it. Yeah. Buy the course. You know, I have 4,000 followers. Hopefully one of you buys my course.
Yeah.
Yeah. We
shouldn't have to wonder if your conversion is genuine.
Yeah, and
now more are fake than not.
Well, and we have.
That's a good point. I mean, that's why converting to Judaism, to speak about Judaism, which is my faith, is so challenging, because it's not for everybody, right? It's very easy to get baptized and claim you're a Christian because they want to expand the religion and all these types of things. The same way with becoming, Muslim. You can become Christian and Muslim in like 20 minutes, right? It takes over a year to become someone who's Jewish, to convert to Judaism. Because we want you to be serious about it. There's learnings, there's teaching, there's customs, right? We're not telling you not to, but we're going to give you reasons as to why it's hard, so that we know that once you go through the whole conversion process, you are committed and, not living in sort of a hypocritical manner, like some of these people who then, just get baptized and claim Christianity. Exactly what, Crowder's talking about. So I think it should be harder to convert, because then you're going to weed out some of the people who don't actually want to put in the work. You could take that that learning from Judaism and how Jewish people do it. That's why there's very few Jews in the world, because we're not out there proselytizing, saying everyone can be this. It's like you have to go through the whole process, and to be Jewish, to be born Jewish, your mother has to be Jewish, right? And so that's how it passes on. And then if you want to convert to Judaism, which is totally 100% possible, it is a long, hard, and really gratifying process. And so I think that's important to think about when it comes to, religion.
Strong evidence. And this was a critique. I don't remember what conference it was, but when Nala Ray went and spoke, was it at the TPUSA Women's Conference last year?
Was it?
She was scheduled for it. I don't know if she
went there,
because there was a lot of criticism about it beforehand
and other things. And I'm just like, guys, what are we doing here? Like, she's selling classes online. I don't care if the conversion is 100% genuine. Like you said, you sit in the pew for a little while, you have a little bit of seasoning and time. Like, we've gotten away from that. How many pastors do we need to see rise to stardom and fall?
Yeah.
How many people do we need to see come into Christ and then run away from it because they don't have any idea what it is? We cannot put these people out there, and we cannot listen to them as experts on Christianity. And I think the problem, Stephen, is that you're pointing out is that the Protestant church doesn't know how to distinguish between somebody who's seasoned and somebody who should be listened to, and somebody who's doing just like this because they're like, it feels good, so therefore it must be real. Get them on stage. Let's hear that fresh testimony.
The problem is the Protestant church fears feminism. They think it's a foe they can't overcome.
Yes.
They're afraid of it because it's the women of the church who bring kids to Sunday school. It's the women who get involved and overly involved in many ways, and they're afraid of losing them. They're afraid of offending them. And so these testimonies are brilliant. Can you imagine genuinely any church that would host a man who had his old Chippendales videos still up saying, I divorced my wife, cheated on her, but you know what? She really put in the work and I was willing to give her a second chance. Can you imagine that man's testimony at a church?
No.
Let's just
Every one of that, excuse me, every one of that dude's friends would be like, you need to hold yourself accountable. If he has good friends, right? I think that's what men do really well with one another, especially if you're in a good relationships with other men, other friends you have that are in your life. They hold each other accountable. They hold each other on their shit. And I think it's really important for men to have male friendships, male communities, male spaces, male role models, to hold them on their shit, to tell them when they're not living up to their end of the bargain, to tell them they need to get their shit together. Also to hold space for them, to ask for help, to say, I need help. And all these sorts of things are important in male spaces, but male friendships are really important because the whole point is to elevate one another so that you can go in to be a better husband, you can go and be a better father, be a better coach, leader, businessman, whatever you're trying to do, because you have people to bounce ideas off of. You have people to talk to and lean on and ask for help. But most importantly, you have people to hold you on your shit and hold you accountable for doing what you said you're going to do, especially if it's to this level of like cheating. Dude, you messed up. You got to repair that. You got to say something. You can't keep lying. You got to apologize, right? All these types of things, not just blaming the wife. Maybe she had something to do with it because there's two people in a marriage. And of course, maybe something happened where it sort of felt alone or left out or whatever the case may be. It's like, okay, then I found some companionship here and I wanted to have some sex, right? There's always something that happens, but ultimately it's on the person who did the thing. That's who's responsible.
The men, not even the church leadership, the men in the congregation would not allow it.
no.
They would boo him or run him off the stage
Right.
by any means necessary.
Yeah. The problem is the Jezebel spirit has been taking over the modern Christian Protestant church. And you can't blame secularism when you have failed your people in trying to moderate, in trying to pander to an audience who, by the way, will never actually care about the gospel and the truth. They actually are repelled by it. And so they turn God into an idol. They turn God into an idol. They worship a false God because it makes them feel better. YouTube's is something you're not allowed to say according to the guy.
All right, that's it. Thank you, Stephen Crowder. Appreciate it. Yeah, it was a decent video. Just kind of kick us off. Let's just jump right into the next one, and then I'll have some closing thoughts. So we just got one more video. The dark reality of goon caves. What's a goon cave? Before we start, though, this is kind of funny. I coached a 17-year-old baseball team last summer. This summer, I'll coach 18-year-olds. And some kid walks up to me. He's like, Coach, I'm a little tired. I was out gooning all night. So I don't know what that means, dude, but it sounds weird. And apparently gooning to high school kids is like going out and getting chicks. But then I was on a live like a couple weeks after that, and someone said, I just got done gooning, and now I'm here. And I was like, what's your version of gooning mean? And he was like, masturbating. And so I was like, I don't really know what it means. I also don't know what goon caves are, but we're about to learn that from this woman right here. So I found that kind of funny, the lingo and all this stuff. Now everything is like about mogging and look smack. I don't know what any of those fucking words mean. People just keep making shit up. Can we just use normal words to describe things? But here we go.
Enter gooning, the latest twisted evolution in America's porn addiction, where young men are not just watching, but marathoning hours, even days of self-induced oblivion, chasing this.
So gooning is masturbating and watching porn. Gooning is not what that other guy said. I wish gooning was going out into the real world, and trying to get chicks, not gooning behind a fucking screen. Anyways.
Brain-melting goon state that apparently rivals the highs of drugs without the physical hangover. And if that sounds exaggerated, it's not. A journalist named Daniel Collitz took a deep dive into this subculture in a lengthy piece titled The Goon Squad. In my opinion, this is absolutely worth revisiting, especially in light of Fishback's proposed sin tax.
Will push for the first of its kind OnlyFans sin tax.
You would have to pay 50% to the state on top of the 37 I already paid to the government.
And by the way, if you think his policy suggestion goes too far, just give me a few minutes. Once you grasp how deep this addiction runs and what it's doing to an entire generation, your perspective may begin to shift. Collitz details online dens, elaborate custom setups, and a vocabulary that sounds like it was cooked up in a sub-basement of hell. This is the rotten fruit of lockdown isolation, where millions of young men were glued to their devices during COVID, mixed with decades of cultural messaging that frames masculinity itself as a social defect. This is nothing less than a siege on the human soul, and it has been staggeringly effective. From big tech algorithms that push hypersexualized content into every single feed, to policies that flood the market with more temptation, we are watching the normalization of escalating addictions that keep men isolated, depressed, and degraded, and far removed from building families, pursuing meaningful ambition, or forming any type of real human connection. So for anyone whose brain hasn't been fully fried by the endless scroll of degenerate internet sludge, let's break down what gooning actually is. At its core, gooning is an amped up version of edging, teasing yourself.
Gooning is a new kind of masturbation. So that one guy was right, I guess. The act itself resembles edging, repeatedly bringing oneself to the point of climax without actually climaxing. And so I guess dudes are doing this for 24 hours, 36 hours in their goon caves. I feel bad, you know? Because when I was younger, it was the vibe to go out and get girls and talk to girls, and which girls were you talking to and how many girls were you talking to? Are you talking to girls? If you weren't talking to girls, you were gay, like all these types of things. Now the culture has shifted, but now I know men, young men, straight young men want to go out and have sex with girls, but they feel like they shouldn't because they feel like their masculinity is toxic. They feel like they can get everything behind the screen, and they've been culturally conditioned to think that. And it's not fucking true. Everything good happens in the real world. And we have to convince young men. We have to help young men. We have to encourage them that they can be something greater than they are. That what they're doing right now is not okay. A little tough love, a little love mixed in there as well, a little empathy mixed in there as well, but also some like strapping them up with the skills and tools, you know, the ability to get rejected, the ability to work out and eat well and move well and dress well and hygiene, right? The ability to communicate and articulate. These things are skills that create competence, that create excellence, that drive them towards, you know, being able to have sex with women. And once you have sex with a woman once, in real time, in real life, you don't want to go back to that fake bullshit behind a screen because you realize how much better it is. And that's what we need to get to. All young men's problems would go away if they feel like they could get a good job and have a girlfriend and buy a house. It would all go away. And we have to be able to express to them and show them that that is possible, that is real, that is tangible, not this fucking goon cave stuff, which is really sad. But let's get into it a little bit more.
To the brink of climax over and over again without actually crossing the finish line. But these gooners take it to extremes, turning it into a marathon ritual of masturbation that can last for hours or even days, all in a pursuit of this elusive goon state. Collitz describes this as a kind of ego-dissolving trance, a euphoric haze, where the mind goes blissfully blank, kind of like hitting a runner's high or a twisted form of meditation. But it's not about quick relief. It's about surrendering to overstimulation, often fueled by hyper-edited porn clips synced to pounding music, shared in real time with anonymous buddies in these online goon dens. Picture a guy holed up in his goon cave, a dimly lit room.
Oh, that fucking clip gets me every time.
Rigged with multiple screens, toys, and maybe even a shrine to his favorite performers.
Oh, hell no, man. What the fuck?
Lost in a loop of arousal that's just as much psychological warfare as it is physical. Collitz nails it when he calls it the dream of endless masturbation, but it's less of a dream and more of a nightmare dressed up as escape. Collitz's piece pulls no punches in exposing the underbelly of this world, infiltrating Discord servers like Goonverse, which boasts of over 50,000 members, and surveying more than 100 gooners to paint a picture of profound isolation and self-degradation. These aren't just casual viewers, okay? They're mostly young men, Gen Z and millennials, who've graduated from the free corn floodgates of sites like Pornhub to something far more immersive and soul-crushing. Many describe themselves as pornosexuals, meaning they have actually sworn off real relationships entirely, opting for the safety of screens over the messy.
This can't be real. Pornosexuality, learned or innate. Imagine a world where your only sex partner is you, pornosexual, one whose sexual orientation is directed to porn. We can't be doing this shit. That's not fucking real. This is the downfall. This is the destruction. Like, we have to stop this in its tracks. We have to encourage men to be better, but we can't just tell them to be better and keep saying it's on you, it's your fault, it's you, it's your fault, you got to do it yourself. We have to help them as a society, lift them up. If any other group in the world was struggling as much as young men are, there'd be systems and groups and money and fundraisers and all these types of things to uplift them, because there should be. They're struggling, but for some reason it never happens with men, or specifically straight white men. We're like, oh, they're fine, they'll figure it. They're not figuring it out. They're fucking struggling. And men right now are dying by suicide 4 times the rate of women. It's an absolute fucking heartbreak, shame that anyone ever has to die by suicide. I lost my sister to suicide in 2018, but men are killing themselves at a faster rate, and we have to do something about it. And this has a lot to do with it. And we can't keep ignoring the problem, thinking that'll just magically fix itself because men just need to pull themselves up by their bootstraps. It's not working. Something else has to happen. Fuck.
Of real human connection. In their mind, why risk STDs and rejection or emotional baggage when you can curate your perfect fantasy? Guys like Spishak, a 30-something from LA, have built elaborate 27 screen setups in their goon caves, admitting they prefer Korn's honesty to actual sex. These stories scream loneliness, men retreating from society, from fatherhood, from purpose, into these digital black holes where real ambition goes to die. And then there's humiliation baked right in, which Collett highlights as the subculture's dark engine. Gooners don't just chase pleasure, okay? They revel in self-abasement with slogans like ruin your mind or kill yourself, not literally, but spiritually. Subgroups embrace cringe gooning, where participants degrade themselves through themes of inadequacy, cuckolding, or even racial fetishes.
Loser. Goon your life away, moron.
It's all laced with performative masochism, humiliation porn that reminds viewers that they're pathetic, alone, and unworthy. What ties it all together, in Collett's view, is the notion of spiritual suicide, a deliberate erasure of the self through endless overstimulation. It's an ego death without the enlightenment, a surrender to algorithms and platforms that are designed by big, such as Alo, Pornhub's parent company, to maximize engagement and profits. Collett even briefly tried it himself as a part of his
just makes life seem completely pointless, just one miserable thing after another.
research, but apparently bailed out after immediately feeling only despair. Without tackling the tech overlords and societal rot feeding this beast, gooning could literally just be the start, a gateway to even darker frontiers where a generation of men checks out for good, leaving behind empty shells in a nation that's desperate for strong families and real leaders. Throughout this video, I've talked about how porn trains the brain into rigid dopamine loops, and depression often looks similar. Fixed thought patterns, emotional numbness, and an inability to break out of the same mental ruts. That's why this video is sponsored by Atai Beckley, a biotech company that trades on the NASDAQ under Atai. They're researching new approaches to depression, especially for people who do not respond to standard antidepressants. Atai Beckley,
Holy shit.
while the
that's a
community
lot.
Collett immersed himself more about Atai Beckley and their research, you can visit ir.ataibeckley.com. But while the community
Also, I've done my podcast called Something for Everybody. It's on all major podcast platforms. About 90% of the episodes surround mindset, mental health, and personal development. And recently, I've taken a deep dive into depression, what it is and what it isn't. I've taken a deep dive into bipolar disorder, and I've taken a deep dive into seasonal depression. Basically did, 3 very intense podcast episodes about those 3 things specifically. So if you are dealing with sort of any mental health issues or struggles, or want to build a toolkit or get proactive about your mental health, my podcast might be sort of the starting resource for you. So let me know. You can text me at the number 201-534-3681. Say you came from this stream, and I'll directly link you to any of those mental health episodes that I have on my podcast. So could be a good resource for you. Now let's continue.
Kolitz immersed himself in is still very much underground. The content that they're consuming is all available at a push of a button, and the people providing it can't keep from bragging about it. Just look at Pornhub's 2025 year in review stats released last month. What were once fringe fetishes confined to isolated parts of the web are now blasting into the mainstream, racking up billions of views and searches. And it's not just more corn, it is weirder, more deviant stuff getting normalized at warp speed, feeding right into the isolation and degradation that Kolitz spotlights. Take the LGBTQ explosion for starters. Lesbian shot to number 1 in the global categories, up 3 spots from 2024, while transgender rocketed to second place with a whopping 58% growth spike. Searches for femboy crashed into the top 10, jumping 15 spots overall, and a jaw-dropping 292% in the US alone. This isn't organic curiosity. It's algorithms and platforms shoving it front and center, rewiring young guys' brains to chase ever-escalating highs. Remember, these same dudes are...
I mean, it's pretty self-explanatory, right? If you watch porn pretty much all day, every day, the sort of casual, vanilla, normal porn that you watch is not going to be enough to quote unquote stimulate you. So you're going to need something else and 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 something else. It's the same thing that happens with audience capture online, right? You know, one time a content creator is producing all this type of content. You know, he's got many different ideas and interests, and then one type of video blows up, and that's what his audience wants to see, and he gets captured by that, and he has to keep going to the extreme. And you can see that with Myron Gaines online. He's basically a fucking idiot, but he's kind of pushed himself into this I hate Jews narrative, and so everything he has to do has to be about Jews, and he has to make it more and more extreme. You know, I relate it to kind of like the girl who goes on OnlyFans because, you know, she's posting some bikini pics on her Instagram, and so she's like, oh, I can make some money, I'll just do the same thing on Instagram. And then 2 years later, she's, you know, taking 50 dudes in the back door, because you have to keep getting more and more extreme to keep the attention. And it's the same thing when you watch porn. You have to keep getting more and more extreme to keep your sort of same arousal levels or dopamine spikes that you get from watching the thing. So if you're watching it in your goon caves all the time, gooning, of course, you're going to have to watch different stuff, weirder stuff, fringier stuff. And, you know, that's just how it goes. And it's sort of the dark reality, as the title of this video. It's the dark reality of what's happening to a lot of young men who, you know, have no purpose, no direction, no meaning in life to build. And that's what we have to get them towards. We have to help them see their purpose and their vision and their light and the future they can have, and the fathers and the husbands and the leaders and the business people that they can become through bettering themselves, which they're getting the sort of the opposite cultural message right now, especially if they're, you know, chronically online.
Hold up in their goon caves, edging to hyper-edited clips that blur the lines between straight bi and whatever comes next. Pornhub even crowed about diverse desires as the top trend, but let's call it what it is. It's a push to make gay and trans content the new normal, eroding the nuclear family one view at a time. And then there's the creep toward taboo territories like incest and age gap fetishes, which are sneaking into the charts under innocent labels. MILF held strong at 3rd for categories and 2nd for searches, with spikes in Hot MILF up 77%, Cougar up 83%, and GILF 129%. Stuff that's basically role-playing family dynamics or preying on the elderly. Cheating themes blew up too. Cheating wife at 61%, cuckold at 73%, hot wife at 101% growth, often laced with humiliation that mirrors the self-debasement Kolitz describes in his goon sessions. And the creep of this creepiness is that it's constantly expanding into new genres. Globally, fastest growing categories include podcast, which is up 327%, gaming up 283%, which blends corn with everyday hobbies to make it inescapable. Female Twitch streamer is now almost synonymous with corn star.
I need it, Chad. I need it. I want it. I need it. I need it. I need it.
And if you are hoping that there might be some type of top-down government solution for this civilization-ending crisis, I'm sorry to disappoint you, but could we at least ask our leaders to stop making the problem worse?
I'm going to come.
As we just learned a few weeks ago, the US government has apparently...
I mean, yeah, if you go on Twitch for any amount of time, which I'm currently on, streaming on that service now, you'll see somebody doing something sexualized while just sitting there, standing there. It's like everything is sexualized all the time. Like it's just kind of the sexual revolution went way too far. Feminism went way too far, and it produced very catastrophic results that we're seeing in the modern world right now. But I think pendulums always swing very far, and then eventually they sort of get their way back into the center. And hopefully that's where we can be at some point. Because I think most people, that's where they live. But we have to talk about the things in the extreme to hopefully help those people. Because those people need our help, and that's why we're talking about it, especially the young men.
Been approving work visas for OnlyFans creators, which is a fancy term for internet prostitute, and other social media influencers in record numbers since the year 2020. These visas, known as O1s, are meant to be for extraordinary talent in things like art, sciences, or business. They were actually cooked up back in the 90s after Richard Nixon tried to deport John Lennon and Yoko Ono, and they're now meant to help elite creative talent and groundbreaking inventors get a fast track to work in America. Fast forward to post-COVID, and suddenly O1s are being doled out like candy to foreign influencers and sex workers who flash follower accounts and subscription bucks as proof of their artistic merit. Guys, we're talking about a 162% spike in issuances from 2021 to 22. Leveling out at about 20,000 per year, small potatoes compared to H-1Bs, but enough to flood the market with more explicit content creators calling Florida or New York home. Brand deals count as starring in productions, event appearances as critical acclaim. This is government malpractice at its finest. Instead of cracking down on the corn epidemic that's isolating our young men and eroding family values, Uncle Sam is importing more suppliers. It's kind of like fighting the opioid crisis by greenlighting more fentanyl labs, boosting the platform's visibility, credibility, and allure, all while raking in tax revenue from these high earners who pump cash into the economy without the hassle of traditional borders or even morals.
Wait, there's a referral program through it? No.
This visa bonanza is hooking American-born girls.
I mean, I agree with her. This is very good information. I agree with her that it's bad and it needs to stop. I didn't even know that was happening. So it's good information. Very good video so far.
2, normalizing OnlyFans as a legitimate career path for anybody who has a smartphone and zero shame.
Do you collab with guys though?
Yeah, of course.
Wait, so then how are you virgin?
Because it's for work. I'm filming. It's kind of like a tax write-off. You know what I mean?
Okay, yeah.
Yeah.
It doesn't count.
It doesn't count.
The corn machine is a beast.
I mean, one of the major problems is the fact that OnlyFans is now seen as a good, a celebrated job because you can make a lot of money and it's easy and you have sexual freedom and you have financial freedom and you have time freedom. It's like, and it's celebrated by people in our society, and it should not be. It should not be. And then the claim is like, well, I need to make money. The economy is really bad. People are making it. People are making ends meet without, putting their butthole on the internet and having 50 dudes go in their back door. Like, people are doing it. So why can't you? And then people claim to be religious and Christian because of it. We watched that in the previous video, but they're still going on OnlyFans. Then women are claiming they're traditional, but still on OnlyFans. It's like everything is misconstrued and hypocritical and not in the direction of a flourishing society. And I know we can get better. And I know it's going to sort of correct itself and things are going to get back, maybe not get back, but improve, let's say. But right now it's tough. And that career path should not be celebrated as one that we should encourage young girls to do. Like, man, when you turn 18, you should do that shit. Fuck no. That's terrible advice and bad for the soul of a young woman. And then we're just telling them that their only value is their body, which is not true at all whatsoever. Unbelievable. Fuck. Here we go.
But it's not invincible. And people are waking up, pushing back, and starting to reclaim their souls one hard choice at a time. And this is where we circle back to the Florida gubernatorial candidate, James Fishback, who proposed a 50% sin tax on OnlyFans earnings.
We need to create a tax that is so high that it effectively disincentivizes and deters young women from being exploited on this platform.
Framing it as a deterrent to exploitation, with the cash then funneled into teacher pay, school lunches, crisis pregnancy centers, and men's mental health programs. It's the kind of conservative counterpunch that actually says,
I mean, I don't know if that's like super legit, if we'll actually do it, but that sounds fucking cool. I think we should do that in Florida. Let's go. Vote for that guy. I don't know who he is. Never seen anything else about him. It's the first time I've heard about him because I don't live in Florida. Don't really pay attention to what happens there. But that sounds pretty cool.
enough. We're not going to let this rot define our state or our kids.
Get the hell out of our state. I hope you get bankrupt. Don't you dare come to my state and try to exploit and abuse young women.
Critics may call it overreach, but in a world where our platforms profit off of spiritual suicide, taxing the poison to fund the antidote is exactly the kind of moral clarity that we need more of. And who knows, if it sparks similar moves elsewhere, it could actually starve the beast and force creators and consumers to rethink the easy money in degradation. As of February, Pornhub has shut itself down in 23 states, covering nearly half of the US population. So to clarify, Pornhub isn't banned in these states. The government's merely said that the site had to take steps to actually keep children from accessing the content. And Pornhub's parent company, Alo, decided they'd rather pull out of these states entirely. When states stand up like this, it works. Reducing exposure, sparking conversations, and giving people one less excuse to stay trapped. This isn't just about stats, it's soul-stirring. From faith communities ramping up accountability groups to apps blocking the sludge.
The war on gooning has just begun.
With millions sharing stories of breaking.
Fucking God blessed Nick Fuentes. Oh, no. But yeah, there should be a war on gooning. And there should be a war on gooning, and there should be a very concerted effort to uplift and encourage and bring out the best in young men. We got to get away from this toxic shit. We got to teach them what real, healthy, honest masculinity is. It's about being the warrior poet, right? Someone who can provide, protect, is excellent, is competent, can articulate, but also someone who's a bit of a poet as well, can express, can show beauty, can say love, can feel love. That's the warrior poet. That's what we need to be developing in our young men through the right role models, systems, structures, sports, coaches. All these types of things matter when it comes to developing our young men so they're not trapped in this fucking gooning shit and they think that that's the way of life that is best for them. It's not. The way of life that's best for them is going out into the world and developing and making money and going into the gym and getting fucking jacked and going after girls and hanging out with your friends and traveling the world, then eventually finding yourself and finding your wife that you want to spend the rest of your life with, and building a family and doing these incredible things that actually make life worth living and actually make you a responsible human being in the world. You have a moral obligation to do that as a man, is to, get married, have a wife, have kids. That's the beautiful path. And then you can pass on your values and your wisdom and your morals to another generation. And it continues and it continues and continues. And that's how we actually build a society that flourishes beyond what we have right now. At least that's what I think from my sort of worldview.
Free. There is real momentum here. So the white pill, God didn't create us for this numbness. He created us with purpose, vision, and a hunger for genuine connection that no algorithm can ever satisfy. The answer to isolation isn't spiraling deeper into the void. It's stepping out, choosing life over loops, beauty over baseness. And to those caught in the throes, maybe edging in a goon cave right now, feeling unlovable and beyond hope, you are not alone. Millions are fighting the same pull, and redemption isn't a myth. It's a promise. So drop the screen. Reach out to a friend, hit your knees in prayer, and watch how choosing connection over consumption rebuilds what the machine tried to break. So the future is not lost, but it certainly won't be saved by goons who follow orders. We need warriors who are willing to fight for it.
Cool. Good video. Yeah, I enjoyed that video. I mean, you could tell obviously that, let's hold on. Let's go share. No we don't need to share. We need layout. Bang. You can obviously tell that she's reading off of a script and she prepared that ahead of time, but that doesn't matter. She obviously researched for it, thought about it, carefully constructed the way she wanted to represent her views and her values. And I thought that was a really, really good video. The Crowder one is just them, bullshit. And they do it like a 3 or 4 hour live show. And that's a clip from it that they do on Rumble. But that was a good video. I've seen that woman a few other places, but I think she was with Valuetainment, and then I think she left that. Now she's starting her own channel and seems like she's doing well for herself. That was a good video. I don't know any of her other views. Never watched another one of her like full videos on her channel. Don't know any of her other views, but that view and that description and that information, that research she did was awesome. And I appreciate it. And I learned some stuff from that. And it just goes to show you that there are people out there who care about the plight of young men. There are people out there who care about the path that young men are on and how we can redirect them to a new path, a better path. And we need to encourage and uplift men, young men specifically, because this world needs men. This world would absolutely collapse in a heartbeat without men. And I don't care otherwise what you think. You're wrong if you think otherwise. And so to have a flourishing, productive, reciprocal society, we need to uplift men and express how much value, intrinsic value they have, so they're encouraged to become the best version of themselves in greatest service to the world. That's the fucking vibe. Thank you for, coming on this journey with me. This is a fun stream. Wherever you're watching right now, please like, subscribe, follow, drop a comment, all that good stuff. My name is Aaron Mashbitz. I stream all the time. I'm trying to, make this live stream thing a thing. I guess that's the way of the future. That's how I beat AI. I'm a real person doing real shit in real time, but also follow my podcast. It's called Something for Everybody on all major podcast platforms. And if you have any questions, comments, or concerns, text me at my number 201-534-3688.